Hello, how's it going? Happy Monday. I'm going to answer some of your questions from the check-in forms that you have put in there because you have a bunch of good ones. Um, First of all, you did synthesis the other day, and you're like, hey, what are the scores? They were in the order of medium, low, high. So if you go back and look at your sheet, medium, low, high. Most people were on the right track with that. And the question that most came up out of that, other than what were the scores, was can you tell us more about line of reasoning? Like, what does that mean exactly? What it means is can we follow logically all the claims that you're using in order to lead up to your overall opinion, your thesis, right? So if I said, I don't know, hey, most of you did a really good job and got the medium, low, high right. The line of reasoning for making that argument would be I have 50 whatever assignments. I can go through and say almost all 50 got the medium one correct. I think everybody got the low one correct, just about, maybe, right? So I have all that data that I could put into the paper and show it to you, and you'd be like, oh, that's logical. I can see how he got to that answer. That's line of reasoning, right? So it's that all the examples and all the evidence that you're presenting is presented in a nice, organized, reasonable, thoughtful way that allows us to see how you got to your conclusion. We may not agree with it at the end, but we can see how you got there. Good? Are we going to write one? Yes, we are. Are we going to do more synthesis prompts? Like, are we going to write more than one question? We are. You're going to write one more. So if you did, this will be tomorrow's assignment. If you did ink cold blood the first time, you're going to do something with COVID-19 like everybody else did. And then if you did COVID the first time, you're going to do ink cold blood one. So you get one of each, and you'll be able to write the one that you want. Yeah, I think it's good to write about what's going on in the world because it's a lot to process, and it might help, go through it. So, and yeah, it's good to have options. So, let's see. Am I going to live stream lectures? Maybe. We'll see. They told us last week there's some sort of security thing that we were supposed to hold off doing live stuff until this week. They didn't tell us that until the middle of the week, so you might have done it in another class or whatever, but we will find out. Did anybody fact check in cold blood? Or are we just supposed to believe that Truman Capote did train his amazing memory and be like perfect? Well, people did come out later and say, yeah, that didn't happen, right? For example, Dewey was given a lot of the credit, the central role in terms of being the investigator and stuff. And there were other people, the Kansas Bureau of Investigation, blanking out his name right this second. But there were other people that were highly involved, and it was just sort of, I think Truman Capote felt like it made a better story if it was more somebody in the town who knew the Clutters and all that. So the sons of some of the people came out and had some opinions about what went on, that kind of thing. And it came up, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. I think somebody wrote a book about it. Never read the book. But nobody's memory is that good. It's just not. Yeah. And Truman Capote is such a stickler for stuff that, you know how I kind of let you write about stuff that was in quotation marks, even though it might not be Capote's words? It probably was in a lot of ways. I think he shaped quite a bit of the stuff. Because, Perry's not going to be around to argue. He knew that. Nobody can prove Perry didn't say these things because, you know the ending. So, other Capote questions. One, why was Capote so full of himself? I like that question a lot. Yeah, he was a trip. So, when he was young, if you ever read To Kill a Mockingbird, you'll know that Harper Lee's next door neighbor, Dill, it was based on Truman Capote growing up. In the book, Dill's always like, he's like, oh, my dad was going to pick me up, but he's like starring in a movie, or he's doing this amazing thing. He's a conductor on a train. I forget the exact details, but he would like make up these stories. And his dad wasn't doing any of those things. He sort of got abandoned by his parents and was raised by an older aunt. And that Andy's really small, and he's felt different than everybody else. So it was sort of his way of compensating for that, I think. From what we can tell from like biographies and like people that, after he passed away, felt pretty open to talk about him, all that kind of stuff. Said he wasn't that secure, and later in his life he used a lot of drugs and alcohol, which kind of, I don't know, plays into that a little bit. I think he's very insecure. We talked about how he and Harper Lee, who were friends, ended up fighting because she was more successful than he was at that time when he was writing in Cold Blood, but then, he's pretty successful in his own right. But I don't think they ever really mended fences. They spoke to each other from time to time, but they never really sorted it out. Somebody asked, are they friends now? Because I want them to write a book together. Unfortunately, they have both passed away, so that's probably not going to happen anytime soon. So let's see. And then I think that was kind of it for the big Capote questions. Hey, I forgot to do this thing on my assignment, and I got a low score on it. Can I fix it? You sure can. So if you got a 0 or a 1, generally there's like a little comment on that. If you look at the, I don't know, grade book list thing with all your scores, there's generally there's a comment on there that says, hey, it was missing this thing, or I don't know, kind of didn't really follow the directions asked for this piece and you didn't really do it. If you want to fix that and turn it in again, sure. Hey, Mr. Aiden, can I work on my homework some more? Yes, you may. So if you do that, though, just send me a little message that says, will you look at this again? And I'll do that. So looking at the week ahead, you are going to look at a Armstrong student sample from the past, kind of like we did with the last paper, of somebody who's doing the assignment that you're doing now. So you can kind of look at it. It's not the greatest one ever. It's not the worst one ever. It's kind of in the middle. It's on the high end of the middle. And your assignment is going to be to sort of pick out the pieces of it so you can kind of look at it closely and see what this person did. And then tomorrow you're going to make one more synthesis prompt, the opposite of what you did the first time, like I said, and then we're going to write one of them. Cool. That's kind of where we're headed here. So some of you, there was one more question, which was, hey, can you lighten up on how much work you're giving me? Yes, I'm trying to figure out the nice balance of like, hey, we need to cover this stuff, and I'm not there to explain it, so it might take longer, and I don't know. Trying. So if you feel like there's a certain assignment that's like super crazy long, let me know. Just so I'm aware. I don't really know how long it's taking you for sure. But it seems like people are getting through it. I know there's no perfect way to judge exactly what the time should be. Um, you know, if it was real life, you'd have a 45-minute period and homework, trying not to make it that long all the time. Some of them might be longer, but the one on Friday probably took a half an hour. I think the video was like 28 minutes or something like that, and he wrote a little bit, so maybe 35 minutes. Yeah, if it's like super crazy more than half an hour because the assignment's really long, not that, I don't know, you struggled with it or you got interrupted or you didn't have an idea or something. Just let me know that so that I can get a feel for how long things take, right? In class, I always go, "Oh, we'll just finish tomorrow," and so I'm always aware of that. I don't know. So obviously, when you write the paper, your mileage may vary on how long that takes you. So we'll see. Okay. So do your assignment for today. Do your check-in, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye.